Rarely has mankind hesitated to eradicate the creatures that stand in the path of his conquest. If we find intelligent species, ritual extirpation of undesirable beings, odors from another world, the rest must be destroyed. Is it possible that our dark past has repeated itself? Watch them and pray.
Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, government agents, those buried alive but still tuning in with the little signal and oxygen you have left, and anyone who might be listening. This is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. I'm your host, Tasker, and we have Nick.
Can I just say real quick to everybody out there that being buried alive is a literal nightmare. It is a fucking horrible thing to happen to anybody.
It's one of the worst ways to go possible, just like slowly suffocating with like, if you didn't have claustrophobia before, you now do, and also it's what kills you.
Dude, I remember this one case. I don't remember the names of the people, but there's like dash cam footage of this dude and his son who got like kidnapped by two guys, shot, and then buried both of them, assuming both were dead. Buried them alive off the side of a highway. The dad was still alive. He dug himself out of the grave and literally slit his throat and literally dug himself out of the grave. A passerby on the highway called the cops. You could see all of it on the dash cam footage. It's fucking horrifying, dude.
Oh my god!
But so he was buried alive.
He's like covered in dirt. He's got the cut on his throat. He's covered in blood, I'm sure. See, oh my god! I think back to like when in the good old days where there was like diseases where you would look like you were, because I mean we now have good technology where when you're dead, we when you're hooked to the machine, we know when you're dead. But back then they didn't have all that, so sometimes people would appear dead but not actually be dead, and it was such a problem of people getting buried alive just all the time. And they knew it because when they would unearth them, like somehow they'd have like their fingernails were like all fucked up, and like the top of it had a bunch of scratch marks and stuff. So that's why they started installing bells and having like a string into their coffin. So if they're actually alive, they ring the bell, and that's why we have the graveyard shift, or the guy who has to hang out in the graveyard in case one of the bells goes off.
That's fucking stupid. That's
crazy.
Terrifying.
Yeah, fun stuff, right? Do you ever watch the movie Buried?
No.
It was disappointing.
Oh. Is it about being buried alive?
Absolutely. It's like Ryan Reynolds, and the entire movie is in the coffin that he's like, and I mean, like, they do it for what they were working with and like the limited, shots and stuff. Like, they really they did a good job for the concept, but okay, if any of y'all haven't seen it, I'm just gonna fucking spoil it. It's been out since like 2008. He dies at the end, and it just kind of was like, dude, like it just made the whole thing seem just not worth it.
Because if you're in a box with a character for an hour and a half, you hope to God that they make it out.
Yeah, and they trick you into thinking he makes it out, and then he just doesn't, and then it just like caves in on him, and that's the end of the movie. And I'm like,
oh my gosh,
wow, that was not satisfying. But anyways, getting a little sidetracked. We're talking about spooky stuff because it's almost spooky season.
It is almost. We're ramping up. We're ramping up to October. Now, real quick, something spooky I needed to mention very briefly before we get into our horoscopes.
Yeah.
Star Wars Visions. Anybody out there?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it though.
Yeah, really I bet you do. You fucking. I can't say that word on the podcast. I bet you do, because it's for those who don't know, for those who are unaware, it's a Star Wars anime. Okay, and now who gives them the right? Whose deeply disgusting mind got the green light at Lucasfilm to create Star Wars anime?
Dude, I think you're just hating, man. These are some like the top action anime studios money can buy. Like, they're widely considered to be just the best of the best. It's not like they're getting thrown to some fucking hentai company that's just gonna cobble together some.
Do you think that's what my concern is? You think that?
Okay, what are your concerns?
In my opinion, okay, the first off, the fact that they're even doing a Star Wars anime is appalling. Okay, that's my concern.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's funny how you thought my concern was the quality of the studios involved, because being the best action oriented anime studio is like being the fastest retard at the Special Olympics. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna win the race, but you're still retarded.
I think that's an unfair comparison. And I think they're going to, from what I've seen, it looks like they did a really good job and a really cool, like, you know.
Of destroying Star Wars, yes.
Oh,
good.
yeah, call it what you fucking watch it before you judge it.
Nope. I've not watched anime to this day, and I'll be damned if the first anime I ever watch is an abomination of Star Wars. I refuse.
You say that, man, but I hear you're missing out on some good, juicy lore, but whatever, man. You feel free to bury yourself alive in your own delusions, to keep yourself from enjoying things simply because of your, predisposition of hating things just because it's from Japan.
Not my problem. Japan brought it upon themselves, and now they're just trying to sneak their way into our world with Star Wars. George Lucas is rolling in his grave.
He's not dead. Yeah. Anyways, well, I'll check it out. I'll let you guys know next time we're on the show. Speaking of the show, before we really get into this, I'll make this really quick. Just a quick, podcast news announcement. We're gonna post about it really quick, but there's the word that I can use to describe Nick and I's going back to college experience has been getting our buttholes dilated basically at every which way. And it's becoming increasingly difficult to get these episodes out. And next semester, it's going to be even worse because the classes are going to be harder and we're going to have to take up jobs in order to keep on, affording just our basic day to day. So we are looking to be changing to a bi-weekly podcast. So that would be every other week instead of every week. We don't know if we're going to change the date of Wednesdays, because we usually do this show every single week. We're experimenting with the idea of kind of a mini episode in between. So it'd just be 30 minutes of Nick and I just shooting the shit, no real topic, no real on subject, anything. So this is just just a quick announcement about that. We're going to definitely do the rest of October. So it's this change is going to be in place right away. But for those of you who do tune in a lot, expect us every single week. That might change in the future, at least for a little while Nick and I are kind of getting our buttholes reamed, because keep in mind the show is complete grassroots. We just do this on our free time and we are very quickly running out of it.
Yeah. But like Tasker said, we're going to make our way through October because it is the best season of the year. And if and when we decide to make this change, we will let you guys know right before. That way there's no surprises.
Right.
And we appreciate the patience because it has been difficult, especially for these research intensive ones. And, like Tasker said, we're going to have to be getting part-time jobs soon. And we're not 21 anymore. I don't have the energy of a fucking right out of high school, or, you know what I mean? So working a part-time job, and technically Tasker and I are over full-time students because we fucked up and took an extra class, right?
Yep.
So
I'm on 15 units and a math pre-calculus, and then next semester is going to be calculus, and it's just we every excuse under the sun, but we don't want to half-ass things, because we both kind of realize oh shit, dude, is it me, or are we starting to cut corners, or yeah, we both kind of agreed on that, and we just want to make sure that our episodes are something we can be proud of, and not something that we're just we're not just going to our toilet, picking the toilet water and filling your water cup with that and being here you go.
Yeah. So if we do make these changes, we'll let you know right before. But thank you for the patience and for putting up with this until we are out of school, and at which point, we'll be probably in a better place to do what we usually do.
Kind of ironic how we have less time to do a podcast while in school than we did with full-time jobs.
Yeah, that says something, doesn't it?
Well, it says a lot about the American fucking education system.
It says a lot about the jobs I used to work. Apparently they were made for donkeys. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. Once we can land something, I'm hoping we can go back to our weekly, because we want to keep the show going. And I mean, we're already at episode 100. We might as fucking well.
Yeah. It's not like we're ever going to leave and stop doing it, but that'd be kind of weird if we were all right, guys, hope you enjoyed almost 100 episodes. Now go fuck yourselves. We're out of here.
Bye. We did our part. Have fun with these 92. But no. So anyways, that's our announcement. We'll go back to spooky stuff and our episode. And we should kick it off with just a quick horoscope to kind of get the vibe of how things are going to go, see what the stars are going to say for how this episode is going to pan out.
Right on. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
There's your horoscope.
Nice.
All right. Find your strength from within, Cancer. There's a great deal of it in there, and it's ready to erupt like a volcano. Oh.
Ooh.
Let your passion drive your engine today, and you'll be amazed at the incredible places you can go. Don't be afraid to take things to extremes. Your fantastic good luck will pull you out of any sticky predicament. This was a very sexually charged horoscope.
I was going to say a lot of very suggestive language.
Yeah, what's up? Erupt, sticky, extremes.
Wow. So it's time to go. See, and we were just talking about going to school and stuff. I think they're just saying drop everything, just become one of them night walkers.
Oh, easy, man. I can make some money on the corner.
Oh, yeah. And with like the weird countryside, like hillbilly environment, I'm sure your mullet will do all sorts of wonders.
Oh, dude, they'll pull on it. Yeah, well, they hit it from the back.
You into that, the donkey punch?
Yes.
Isn't that like how you get brain damage, though, hitting somebody in the back of the head?
Oh, yeah. Easily. Yeah, you can go blind too, man.
Holy shit. So
your occipital lobe is back there, dude. You fuck around with that too much, you're not going to be able to see anything.
Ooh, yeah, you don't want that. So it just kind of, it's almost like, I feel like the people into that are like the same people who do like, the Hollywood way of jerking off, with the belt on the closet.
That's the safe way to do it.
Yeah. Because yeah, it's one of those, like if you're into donkey punching, like you're into probably the risk of losing like your life or something essential. So hey, to each their own, be careful, guys.
Yeah, be careful when you and the weird ways that you ejaculate. Make sure it's safe, okay?
Oh yeah. And if you don't jag off in the weird ways, count yourself lucky. You don't have to put yourself at risk. I remember a day I could jerk off without even any lotion.
What? So does that mean you use lotion every time now?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Why? Yeah, because it hurts. Too much friction. You know why? It's because I started working out and I got fucking calluses, and I think that made it like I used to have really like soft, like delicate hands and no
lady hands.
Yeah, I did growing up when I was younger. I definitely had delicate hands.
Well, I don't use lotion when I do it because I don't need to touch mine to do it. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the we haven't talked about it in a while. The hands-free orgasm, HFO.
It's useful because I could be doing anything and just come. Like I could be like making dinner.
A real superpower that is very attainable. It just takes a little bit of a mental fortitude.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So highly recommend. All it takes is mental fortitude and a lot of Kegels, and you're good.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Spreading some wisdom to the world.
So my friendship here again is Scorpio. It seems to happen a lot.
Yeah, mine's love on Cancer, which I think we established last episode. Since yours is on the friendship one, yours is more just like hard, like physical lust, right?
Mm. Yeah, like I'm just an animal. I'm like a caveman, and you're like a tender French woman from the 1800s.
Like dragging on my like cigarette and like the little cigarette holder, like going for a cuddle, and you just like fucking sack tap,
rip your dress off. Yeah, not in like a rapey way though, like a passionate way.
Yeah, like it's a consensual thing. It's like you gotta establish that in the room before you go in. Like
Anyway, so my stars, right? My stars are good. Sex is a 3 out of 5. Vibe is a 3 out of 5. Hustle is a 4 out of 5. And my success is a 4 out of 5.
Wow. Okay. Not bad.
I needed that.
Yep. Bit of a morale boost. Let me tear through mine really quick. You should mesh quite well with the prevailing energy today, Scorpio. There's a powerful transformative force helping to give greater strength to your ego and vitality. Ooh, vitalize that. Note the fiery energy about the day that encourages your dynamic and forceful personality to shine through. Feel free to express your independence in every situation. So, how you, not but a minute ago, described me as a delicate French woman to be to be ravaged.
And I stand by it, yes.
I think this horoscope is telling me to blossom, to leave the dress in the closet. It's time to put on my big boy pants and use this latent energy for something good. I don't know.
Something better than being a 1800s sex toy, yes.
A fucking human fleshlight for anybody bigger than me.
Yes. You gotta be careful, man. France is weird, bro. We talked about this.
Well, and it's funny though too. It's like, back to that subject, like, because you knew me back in high school. Like, I was really skinny. Like, I was like this like twig. Like, and I am not that anymore. I'm a much larger man.
Yeah, back in high school, you were what I would consider to be a twink.
Yeah.
You know, and I would have used you like a twink had I have gone that way.
I remember looking at old photos. I was like, oh boy, yeah, I look like I'd be. What's that? What they say on the internet? Submissive and breedable.
Yeah, when you really need to have your schoolwork submitted and readable, right? That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing is like that meme where it's like 13-year-olds be saying, "I'm submissive and breedable." Bitch, your schoolwork needs to be submitted and readable.
And you can tell Nick and I are in school because our like fuck meter is just like so low.
Yeah, because like, and you know, I learned about this actually. Funny, this is like a common sense thing, but I found out it's quite valid. Is willpower is an actual measurable and depletable resource. So since our willpower is going so much to school, everything else is falling by the wayside. So I'll say anything I want because I don't have the fucking willpower to hold it back.
So, anyways, sex is a 3 out of 5. Hustle's a 3 out of 5. Vibe is a 4 out of 5. Success is a 2 out of 5. Just about what I expect for today.
That's fair, man. That's fair.
Right on. All right, let's jump into this.
All right, people, welcome back to the show. Now, as I am writing this, I am plastered on straight vodka and watching the live Elvira show. Oh, I wrote this last night, so I was wasted watching Elvira last night, okay?
How was that?
Oh, it was fucking awesome. Dude, she's 70 years old.
Does not look it.
My goth mom, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's pretty damn impressive. Like I saw like some like screen caps and stuff like that. Like, dude, good for her.
Man, oh man. She's literally the original big titty goth girlfriend. Literally, I mean, it's first fucking awesome.
Yeah, the first time, like it really like because was she like in the beginning of goth culture or like in the middle of it? Like, but I don't know. She really established like a very not a stereotype, but it's like a big like, you know, now we associate that with goth.
The look, yeah, like she was big on the look. And because it came after the inception of goth and goth culture and music and stuff, but she popularized the look of, you know, the black, the pale, the heavy eyeliner and eyeshadow, what we would now consider to be goth chicks.
Damn. Well, power to her.
Anyway, so that was cool. I was drunk last night. So we are still ramping up to the best season of the year, Halloween. Last week, we covered more vampires, which was fun, and I like vampires. But this episode is something that is more Nick's style. Okay, we're talking about werewolves again.
Yep, which is totally not furry at all.
Right, and I will stand by it. I will continue to say that I am not a furry for liking werewolves, and anybody who thinks that I am is jealous.
I don't know why I feel like there's like because it was in the news lately with Trump's been doing rallies again, and they very interestingly position some folks behind him with shirts that said "Blacks for Trump," and you know, right behind him to be in like focus on camera. And people are talking about it's like that's like snails for salt or like, and so that's to me, it's like, I don't know, for you saying that werewolves aren't furries, it almost just seems like werewolves against furries. Like that seems like almost backwards.
I will not even dignify that with a response because you guys know that furries are completely different than werewolves. Werewolves are badass and they'll cradle you in the middle of the night if it's warm, if it's cold, but also you can't get too comfortable or horny because they might eat you. Right. Furries, well, they're just furries.
Oh yeah, they jerk off in elevators
and fill up used diapers and throw them on people's cars and all kinds of weird shit, man.
Oh my god. You think maybe the reason we hit like our dips in viewership is when we're especially mean to furries? Because there's a lot of them.
Do you think that a majority of our fan base are furries?
I don't know. Either it's like a majority of it is, and they just think it's funny, or there's like an active group of furries out there like doing everything they can to keep us from like ever expanding.
Well, once they can get their wieners out of each other's fur pockets, maybe they can slap on my knob. I don't know, man. I don't have any jokes right now. I'm so hungover.
Yeah, remember, willpower is a depletable resource.
It is. It is gone, bro.
Well, I guess if it makes it just a clear distinction so we can move forward, Having sex with a furry is just degeneracy. Having sex with a werewolf will probably end with you being dead because werewolves are animals, and that's probably how they do it.
And that's cool. That's a lot. That's more metal than having sex with than yiffing, right?
Yeah. Well, now that that's established, we are.
I just want to say, because you're the one that brought it up. Everybody's always like, "Oh, Nick's always talking about werewolves. He's a furry." I'm not a furry because I like werewolves.
Well, the debate continues, and some of us will, we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Maybe that's something we could do for our like semi episodes where we could discuss the legitimacy of werewolves as non-furries.
I 100% am down to defend my position on one of those. Okay,
perfect.
So in particular, we will be talking about the Michigan Dogman, which is a very well-known cryptid for those in the cryptozoological area and people who really enjoy werewolves like myself, okay? So without further delay, grab your winter coats, make sure that your 10 gauges are loaded, and turn your grandmother's precious antique silver spoons into bullets, because we're diving right in.
It's important, and if you got them, keep them handy.
If you got them, use them, boys and girls.
Smoke if you got them.
Smoke if you got them. That's a cool ass line. That's a cool line, dude.
That is a really. You don't hear that shit anymore because, like,
you don't, dude. I watched Event Horizon the other night. Fantastic cult sci-fi horror movie, and Lawrence Fishburne says that in the movie because he's like a captain. He's like, "Smoke if you got him." He's like, "Woo,
fuck yeah!" Because like nowadays, smoking's like dying out. I think.
Yeah, dude. And I stopped smoking. I used to smoke back in the day, and my friends got mad at me for smoking. But hey, I don't do it anymore. Now I vape, and I'm just a big pussy.
It's never been so delicious, huh?
Amen, dude. Okay, first, let's start off by setting some background. What is the Michigan Dogman? Well, the short answer is that it is a werewolf. Okay, but there are conflicting reports about the appearance of the Dogman. Some say that it is a being with the head of a wolf or dog and the body of a man. So that's more of your werewolf from antiquity, if you will, like the ancient Greek werewolves who literally had human bodies with the head of a dog.
Okay, so not the big monstrous muscle fur covered Hulk killer things. It's like if I had a dog head right now. That's it.
Precisely. Yeah, exactly. A majority of the sightings actually say that that's the type of werewolf that they see. Which is interesting because a lot of the times in werewolf encounters and sightings, you hear about the one that you just described, the badass one, the big furry lycanthrope dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like others, some do say that that's what they see is the ones that we expect when we hear werewolf, right? The large bipedal, anthropomorphic wolf creature, the cool one, in my opinion, the one that I'd like to hang out with.
Yeah, the one that, like we established in the vampire episode, like the one that if you know somebody who has lycanthropy, whatever, and if they had like a Craigslist ad, you would be over there in a heartbeat, even if it was like a fucking just murder like setup.
Yeah, even a murder setup, but as long as I'm not going to say I want to have sex with a werewolf.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be like the worst thing to happen.
Well, it's almost like you're willing to put your life on the line for even a chance at maybe being bitten.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I want to be bitten, and if it includes me being close enough to have sex with it, so be it. If that's what it takes for me to become a werewolf.
See, I didn't say anything about having sex with it. You brought that up yourself.
Yeah, that was weird.
I want to make that clear.
That was very weird.
Oh man, it just writes itself sometimes.
But in either case, running into the Michigan Dogman is a frightening experience. Honestly, whether it's the big badass werewolf that we all know and love, or if it's like the wolf and dog head version, either way, it fucking sucks. Like, you're not going to have a groovy time if you run into one of these things.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, it's like, okay, when you think of like a Dogman, it's like, oh, it's like, that sounds hilarious. He's got like golden retriever head. You're probably thinking of like if it were in like an animated TV show. Yeah, you could make that adorable. To see that in reality would be hella disturbing. That would be something like, it's one of those you just like mentally repress it kind of deals.
Yeah, dude. I've always thought that people with like realistic animal masks or on like or something
Creepy.
like that was really creepy. Like, Mika, the singer Mika back in the day, when he would do live performances, he would have a bunch of people on stage with him with realistic animal masks, and it was really unsettling. So like imagine seeing a real life version of that, but something that's actually can kill you.
Yeah, and like actually like functions like a like animal head too. So it's like
Yeah.
it's not like, non-biological, like, it's panting and shit and like
Ugh.
but also
Ugh.
has like human hands, like I don't like it.
See, I'd rather run into the big scary one than those, honestly.
Yeah, it's almost easier to wrap your head around it for some reason.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Yeah.
But in general, the Dogman is supposed to be 7 feet tall and have sharp blue or amber/yellow eyes. What a dreamboat, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's that one? There's that one song that's been on to like TikTok. It's like 6 feet tall and super strong.
Super
We
strong.
always get along.
Oh, dude, I hate that I know what that is, and I hate that I love that song, and I sing it all the time. And I do it in the mirror because I don't have the balls to post my own, So like I just go in the mirror. I'm like 6 feet tall and super strong. I do all that shit.
Got the moves and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm such a fucking idiot. What a cringe, man. This is why I should never have downloaded TikTok. It was a goddamn mistake.
Oh, it's funny. The more people I talk to about it, they're just like, yeah, I don't download it because I know I'm gonna get sucked into it. And boy, is that shit true.
It's so true, man, but it's so good. I hate that I said that. Let's move on. It's big, vicious, hairy, and has razor sharp claws. A lot like me after a couple weeks of no manscaping. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, same. I'm a hairy fellow.
Another creepy part of the Michigan Dogman is the fact that it's said its howl is supposed to sound almost like a shrieking human scream.
Even fucking worse, dude. Like,
yeah, like almost like that uncanny valley, but on an audio level.
Yeah, and I think that's really what's so creepy about like semi-human, like human body with like, instead of like a fully transformed. The reason I think it's easier for us to wrap our head around the full beast is because we see a like. It's weird how a monster versus a corruption or bastardization of the human form. The human form one is scarier. I mean, that's why like fucking zombies were like the big thing for a while, or why like most of the scariest creatures out there are ones that are distorted humans. Those are the ones that like stick with us the most. Like, for example, your favorite game, Amori, there is a jump scare where basically it's like your sister, but like her face is just pale white. She has no nose. Her eyes and mouth are just hollow, and it's just stretched and bent and like crooked and like all fucked up and distorted. And that was the scariest part of the whole game. And yet there's like monsters and shit. Like, it's funny how that works out.
So, okay. So here's a question, an art question. Okay. Yeah. A seemingly respectable art question. I'm not going to trash it. Okay.
Okay.
So if that's scary, right? A distorted form of humans.
Yeah.
Does that mean Picasso, because he's only one of 2 artists I know, does that mean Picasso was a horror painter because he had during what was it called? His what period was that when he was starting to, he didn't know what a human looked like, an abstract?
Cubism?
When he that abstract period where he would like rearrange faces and stuff.
Yeah, he did that like a lot. Like that was Cubism, and that was
is that scary? Is that horror?
That's actually an excellent question. I would go and venture to say no, because no, there are some of his works that are widely considered to be intentionally disturbing. I wouldn't go so far to say horror, but like you do look at some of them and they do kind of like don't make you feel good. Like there's some that are like, oh fuck, like that's weird, that's unsettling, that's creepy. And one could say it's not officially horror, but there's like, there's definitely like hinges of it. Like I definitely would venture to say I don't think it's exactly horror, but I do think it borders on it for certain ones of his pieces. Like for example, one of them which was supposed to be this is called Guernica, which is about like firebombing and stuff and a bunch of people getting killed. It's not like super scary because it's so distorted that we can't. Because remember, Uncanny Valley, it works when it's like we get really close to the human form, whereas he fucks it up so much that it feels almost more cartoony. And that's kind of like the discussion is it's like, you know, it's not as it's whereas if this was like hyper realistic with all those distortions still in place, but with hyper realistic anatomy in mind, it'd be fucking terrifying to look at.
So that was a good question, right? I came up with a good art question.
Yeah, that was a very good art question. You should be proud of yourself.
I feel, you know what? I feel a little bit more. I feel a little closer to you.
Yeah, man.
I didn't say anything mean. I didn't say anything mean about you or Picasso.
That's really impressive. So in typical form, I know you're kind of a one step forward, two steps back kind of man. So how are you going to conclude this?
Cubes. Come on, man. I can paint a cube. Probably not that good. I can make stuff out of cubes. I'm not a goddamn artist, you know, because my name's not Pablo. I don't have an exotic name, so I can't be a fucking artist.
I would love to see you try. That's my cap on that is I'll just love to watch your attempt.
All right, cool. No, I'm still proud of my question.
Yeah, you should be. Anyways, Dogman screaming like a human. Uncanny Valley. That's horrifying.
That is pretty creepy. Another little fact that is some reports of the Michigan Dogman resemble that the beast of fuck. Let me redo that. Jesus Christ, I butchered that so bad.
It's okay. The fucking willpower.
Yeah. Another little fact is that some of the reports of the Michigan Dogman resemble that of the Beast of Bray Road in Wisconsin, which is not too far away. Now, this is a topic that we might cover in the future, the Beast of Bray Road. And for my cryptozoology homies out there, you know who it is. It's another werewolf cryptid that is seen on the side of the road in Wisconsin, and they have very similar sightings between the two of them.
And if there's enough info on it, we might actually do an episode in the next like couple weeks of that.
I would love that. It's on our list of topics. I want to get to the Beast of Bray Road pretty soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's spooky season.
Spooky. More werewolves the better too, man. Come on. You know what I mean? It's like Viagra.
It's seasonal. Yeah. What is it? It's like 4 hours or longer. You got to see a doctor. Has anyone ever actually had to do that?
You know, how would you do that? Let me ask you, okay, logistically, you take a pill, your boner lasts like 6 hours, right? You're like, this is not good.
Yeah.
How are you gonna like get to your car, drive, and then get to a hospital and walk into a hospital where people are dying in the ER, in the waiting room, kids are coughing, right? Kids are in there. You just walk in with a huge boner. You're like, I got a problem. I have a problem. Solve my problem for me.
Well, I mean, you
could
just
stand there with a huge erection.
Well, I mean, that's implying you're not going to at least try to waistband it. Like, you know, you're going to try to cover it up, tape it if you gotta. But like, I don't know, man. Have you ever had a situation where you've had an erection lasting for more than an hour?
No.
It's painful.
How did you get in that situation?
It was one of those times where it's like I couldn't quite find the right video, but I was like still kind of half in it. And an hour later, it's like I don't even like it just hurts.
I mean, it sounds painful, man, but I'm just saying it's hard to get to the hospital like that. I think you should just do bloodletting at that point.
Yeah, didn't we mention something about using like leeches on your dick at some point?
Just get rid of some of the blood flow, man. I mean, just make a little incision on that big vein on the top, and then let a little bit flood out until it starts to go away, and then seal it up.
For some vampires, that's the only way they can drink anymore.
God, that sounds good. I mean, that sounds not good. You know what I mean?
Getting a little learning a lot about you today.
Let's move on. All right, this is becoming self-incriminating. Now, there are a pretty good amount of sightings of the Michigan Dogman, and that's what a majority of today's episode will be dedicated to. First and foremost, we should go back to the very first sighting, which has become infamous in the Michigan Dogman lore at this point in time. So the first sighting takes place in 1887 in Wexford County, Michigan. That is a year before the Jack the Ripper killings, which is my favorite true crime whatever of all time. So that's how I base all of my dates off of 1888. So in relation to my base of time, this is a year before. Okay.
This is your version of like BC before Christ kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. So 1888 is my year zero. Yes.
It would be before Jack or BJ.
Yeah. Oh no, it's all coming together, man. Something's wrong with me.
Your horoscope was right.
My horoscope is just like, Nick, you are a big fruit. Why don't you just suck some dick? You know?
Just get it over with. Stop lying to yourself. Just do it, man.
Oh no. And this story involves two lumberjacks. And now for those of you who don't know, lumberjacks are people who would cut down trees with axes. It was a manly, grueling job. Nowadays, people just get money working from home and being naked online. That is what the world has come to.
Oh, you mean to tell me you'd quit doing that to go be a lumberjack?
No. So I guess I'm in the same boat as everybody else. I don't even have a job right now, so like I can't say anything.
I mean, I'm sure lumberjacking is it's a good way to, I mean, you make your living, but you're also, you snap your back, you're done. And also too, there's a lot of deaths that can happen, with the logging plants and stuff like that with all the big saws.
Yeah, the saws, and they have these for a time I considered becoming a logger, but the problem is I read it's one of the highest death rates in any career because mainly, the big steel wires they use to like tie logs together and shit.
Right.
Sometimes those snap. And when those snap, it literally swings through. It just cuts anything in its path literally in half. So a lot of people get cut in half and shit. And I'm like, I don't know if I want that,
See, the workplace accidents I'm used to is like a whole tray of like glasses being knocked over and shattered. Now imagine working, you clock in for Thursday and then you see Marty downstairs just getting fucking bisected. Oh no, that's he's a lumberjack and he's okay. He sleeps.
Oh man,
awful. You could do like a funeral rendition of that.
What do we talk? What is this episode about? Oh yeah, werewolves. All right. So, anyways, these two lumberjacks were out in the woods, jacking lumber as you do, right? That's what I also call it when I'm in the bathroom fapping on the toilet.
Jacking lumber. It's a good one. It also implies a high endowment.
Yeah, the nice girth. I got a nice girth down there. It looks like see, the girth is good, but the length is unimpressive. So it kind of just looks like a skillet, like a cast iron skillet down there.
Well, it's better to have one than none.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Oh man.
These two guys are out there jacking lumber along the Manistee River. They saw a massive creature who had the head of a dog and the body of a man. That creepy antiquity werewolf.
You ever think it might be because this is like 1887? You said,
yeah.
So what if it was just some dude who just decapitated a dog and was just wearing its head?
I mean, it could be. Some people were crazy out there, right?
Oh, yeah. This is back in the day, This is, and it's just weird to think about life before cameras and, like, surveillance where, like, because now we can see or hear or record anything. And it's sort of like there's a part of the human experience that was lost with that because half of the human experience was the idea of privacy and that, which some people should not have because there's certain people who take that a little too far. But also, too, back in the day, you could just trust your neighbor. You could just, we didn't really have, like serial killing wasn't so much of a thing because we're all just fucking hanging by a thread anyways.
Yeah, who has time to kill other people when you're dying yourself? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, it's just weird to think back on that of, it was just a whole different time. Like, yeah, we didn't have, cell phones and everything. You had to learn navigation by looking at the sun and shit. But, hey, you also could decapitate an animal, wear its head, and jack off in the forest and not have it come up and ruin your career 20 years later.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's a werewolf,
Seen on Pornhub.
The next reported sighting took place in 1938, so a bit of a gap there.
Mm-hmm.
A 17-year-old boy, Robert Fortney, was hanging out in the woods near Paris, Michigan, and out of nowhere, he stumbled upon 5 wild dogs in the distance. Anything before the 1950s, I personally consider to be a lawless time in our human history. So I imagine that a gang of wild dogs is not out of the ordinary in my mind. All right, in 1938.
Yeah, I mean, you could still have that happen as long as it's not like a super incorporated area.
Yeah, so if you're in a third world country somewhere, there's probably packs of wild dogs eating babies all over the place, right?
One can argue that America is the starting to get close to a third world country with how they treat everybody who's not rich. Somebody said America's a third world country wearing a Gucci belt.
Honestly, given how wealth is dispersed in the country, I could see that. I mean, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, we may not be follow fall into the definition completely, but it's definitely there's definitely tendencies.
Yeah, there's tendencies. I mean, like, I can still go and drink out. I mean, I wouldn't do this because it calcifies the pineal gland, but I could go and drink out of the water faucet and not get dysentery.
Right.
But
also
at
too,
the same time, I'm in debt, even though I shouldn't be in debt, and I can't, you know what I mean? And it's just like,
well, and also, regardless of all that, if you break your elbow, you're fucking bankrupt, and everything you've been working towards is for nothing. And the fact that we have a system that literally is built to just like, you know, if you just want basic healthcare or basic like assistance, you just can't really get it.
Yep, precisely.
Awesome.
Now, what did stand out about this story is that Robert reported that one of the 5 dogs was larger than the others and had the ability to stand on its hind legs and walk/run upright. Now, I don't know about you, but that kind of sounds like a werewolf, okay?
There's just a really talented alpha.
Sure. The next step in dog evolution, man. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, whatever it was, it didn't catch on, I guess.
But of course, it was nighttime, so it was difficult for him to see in detail. But if it was large enough to be distinct in the dark, I imagine that it was a pretty big boy.
Yeah, if you could see that form, or yeah, but also, like I said, this is like back in the good old day. Like, you know, it's not the most reliable cases, and plus, it's like we don't know how much like paint thinner he was sniffing when he went out for that night.
Yeah, man. Maybe he was shipping off to World War II the next day, and he was all wasted. Who knows?
Yeah, very easily could be the case.
But Robert booked it as fast as he could as soon as he noticed that the one standing up began to look in his direction, which is never a good sign. Like if you're hanging out with some dogs and one literally is massive and stands up and looks at you, don't stick around and like see if it talks also, you know, just run.
Yeah, werewolf or not, any like that's like seeing a bear and then it like stands up and starts lumbering towards you. You get the fuck out.
Now, from this reported sighting in 1938 through, let's say, the early 1960s, more anecdotal sightings had taken place, none of which I could find a lot of details on. However, the next one we do have details on happened in 1961. This time, we will go to Big Rapids, Michigan for this story. A night watchman was making his rounds and patrolling a nearby manufacturing plant that he was assigned to. He was making his way through his usual route along the grounds when in the distance he saw a humanoid figure in the dark. He thought it was a person, and he did his job like he's supposed to as he approached it, but he noticed that the figure actually had dog or wolf-like features. For example, pointed ears, covered in fur, and had the silhouette of a snout on its face, the whole shebang. He pulled out his gun, because back then security guards had guns.
Right.
Ready to defend himself, but instead decided to take photos of the creature with a camera he had on him for patrolling purposes. Now, he supposedly snapped a couple pictures, but the actual photos are nowhere to be found, at least not on my end.
Interesting.
And I know that tone you're going with right now is the hater tone, I call it.
Well, it's funny to me how a lot of these sightings and stuff suddenly started to cease once we've had widespread surveillance, you know, I don't know, or in other words, a way to prove it.
Well, you know what? Actually, that's usually how it goes with these cryptids, but I am here to tell you today that as time progresses with the Michigan Dogman, sightings increase.
Is that so?
I think we're only like a third of the way through our sightings.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll hang in there. I'll see how I say. We'll see, because usually it's like after like 1980 something is when suddenly like, and then you get like one or two in like 2006, and that's it.
Exactly. Yep. No, but this we have a nice steady stream of clear urine sightings.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll hold my tongue for a little bit more.
After this 1961 sighting of the Michigan Dogman, more and more sightings occurred. You will notice, as we progress, that there's actually a pretty good amount of modern sightings that have been reported. And the next story takes place in 1986.
Still in the doubtful time frame, but I'm willing to listen.
The 80s are better, at least, right?
Well, 80s, everyone was on coke.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's a fuck ton of sightings. And wasn't that also like that supposed era when like lead poisoning and like the paint was like causing everyone to kind of go crazy?
I think so, because all the babies who grew up in lead houses in the 50s and 60s are starting to become adults, and they're starting to have all these fucking developmental problems because
Yep. And then taking it out on everybody else.
Yeah. It's funny, but not funny.
Yeah.
So this time we're going to the back roads of Manistee, Michigan, and it involves a man named Ray Greenway. Now, our boy Ray here had just left an army recruiting station. You know, he wanted to be a good old red-blooded American, good old boy and serve his country. So he had gone and signed up for the army, and he was headed home late at night afterwards. Mm-hmm. Now, it was nighttime when he had left the station and began to drive home on the desolate back roads. His headlights illuminated something off to the side of the road, and he slowed down to get a better look, which is not a good idea.
Never.
It took a second, but he realized that what he was looking at was a pair of eyes. Now, initially, he thought that it was a deer's eyes, but then he realized that the pair of eyes were too high off the ground to be a deer.
Oh boy.
You know, because deers are short and dumb.
It just gets better and better.
After this realization, the creature started running quickly toward Ray in his car and leapt 2 lanes of the road in one fell swoop in order to get closer to him. It was like a huge jump.
See, and there's something about like that, like built-in, like natural instinct when anything barrels towards you, you just, it's like everything in your system just fires off.
Can you imagine being in that situation? Oh my God.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
It was at this point that he noticed the wolf or dog-like appearance of the creature. And he knew at this point, 100% not a deer. This is a problem in front of me. So he put his pedal to the metal and squealed the fuck out of there.
Don't blame him. I would have done that probably. Well, I mean, I can say like, oh, I would have run away right in the get-go. Like, dude, like we always say, adrenaline's a hell of a drug, man. Like there's fight or flight. And then, but my girlfriend who's trained in like all like martial arts stuff always tells me, because there's other girls she's talked to who's gone through stuff, there's actually a third reaction. Freeze.
Yeah, freezing is interesting because like you said, got the sympathetic nervous system, bro. Your fight or flight's ready to go. You're like, hey, am I gonna beat the shit out of this thing, or am I gonna leave? Right. But then, like you said, freezing is 100% a real thing. And I think what that has now, this is just a theory in my side, because I've thought about this before, is I think freezing is not necessarily like a defense mechanism, because it's like a bad one, right? Because
that's how you fucking lose at the end of the day.
But what I think it is, I think it's an issue in a state of fear of being able to perceive exactly what's going on and to process exactly what's going on. So then you're just like, your brain freezes you. It's like, hold on, let's figure this out. It can't be a werewolf coming at me, but it is. You know?
Do you think that's the product of like a modern time thing, or do you think this has been going on forever?
Damn, that's a tough question, dude. I think it's been going on forever, because like, I think that now let's all step back and assume that evolution is true for a second. Okay.
Okay.
Behaviors that tend to help the human race tend to continue. Right. In evolution and continue in our goal to survive and procreate, whatever. And then, so I feel like if this was not a at least at some point a good reaction for our nervous system and our brain to have, it would have died out long ago. So I think we've had it for some reason for a long time, but I don't know why. I don't have a theory on that.
I have a slight theory, and then we can get back to the episode. But because if you remember, there was a time when dinosaurs ruled the planet, right? And how did mammals survive? They shut the fuck up and they hid. So maybe that's where that kind of comes from, is that like shit happens, like just we shut down, hide behind a rock, and technically you can consider that flight, but maybe sometimes you don't have time to run, or maybe running's not an option. And when you're up against a, I don't know, raptor,
and your brain's just like, shut up. If you don't move, it can't see us. You know, It's like, come on, this werewolf isn't going to see you if you don't move.
That might be it for all we know.
Yeah. Hey, dude, we just formulated a new theory, homie. You want to write a paper on it?
All right, dude, use it for your fucking PhD thesis.
I'm going to steal it. I'm stealing
it, man. Hey, man, you can't, if you do the research, it's all yours.
It's funny. Good point, though. That's a good question you brought up. But, I forgot. I wasn't in class for a second. Sorry, I forgot where we were.
Okay, so I thought for a second you meant by that you were like actively in a classroom Zoom lecture while recording.
No.
That'd be impressive, but also irresponsible.
Detrimental to my, they kicked me out of college. Yeah. So he froze up, but boom. As soon as, because also like he had a little more leeway because he froze up in a car. At least like he was in a car and had a layer of protection between him and the werewolf.
Right.
To where he could snap out of it, perceive what he was actually looking at, and then squeal out. So that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, good on him that he's alive, but that fucking sucks.
That's scary, dude. Imagine like leaping 2 lanes towards you. Oh my God.
Well, yeah. When I was driving around in Wisconsin when I visited last summer, like, yeah, dude, I could see that shit popping up there, and I would be not happy.
They have very desolate roads in the Midwest, dude. Very creepy woods right off the side of the road. You know how it is. It's creepy.
Oh, yeah.
Slenderman territory.
Exactly. That's where you get, like, psychically drawn in and stabbed to death.
Yep. Now, before getting into the next sighting, let's take a quick stop in the next year, in 1987. Now, in 1987, something happened that helped to perpetuate the legend of the Michigan Dogman, and it has been solidified in Michigan Dogman lore as well. So let's think about this, right? By 1987, there have been many legends, many sightings of the Michigan Dogman, and it started to become what I guess you could consider a local legend in the area, certain areas of Michigan. People knew about it. It was in the papers, all that jazz. Mm-hmm. Now, that year, 1987, a DJ for WTCM FM, bringing you the best talk radio, named Steve Cook, based out of... Did you like that? Should I get
That's good. I was going to say, we've actually had a lot of practice. I think both of us would be quite successful on the radio.
I think so,
except
too.
for the like shit that we say.
Yeah, because you can't edit that out. You can't edit it out.
That's live as fuck. And oh, man.
So this DJ named Steve Cook, he was based out of Traverse City, Michigan, recorded a song entitled The Legend. So this song was originally created and played as an April Fool's prank on the radio station. And in this song, he mentions various North American-based legends and folklore stories with cryptids and stuff like that. And he included werewolf sightings, Dogman sightings, he called them. And it's said, if I did my research correctly, which I might not have, I'm sure somebody will fucking correct me somewhere. Anyway, it's said that this is where we get the term Dogman from for Michigan Dogman instead of werewolf, because Steve Cook referred to them on the song as Dogman.
Okay, so it's got a little like local flair to it. So it probably was referred to like somewhat of a werewolf for a while, but like now we got the pop culture behind it.
Yep, that's exactly what I think happened. So at the time, Cook said he made it all up and didn't even realize that there were actual Dogman / werewolf sightings happening at the time. I don't believe that. I don't think other people believe that too. I'm pretty sure he used previous werewolf sightings as inspiration in the song.
Yeah, it sounds like he's kind of backpedaling a little bit.
Yeah. But after recording and releasing this song, the radio station got a lot of phone calls from people claiming to have sightings or encounters with creatures similar to the Dogman in his song. So, like, even though it was a joke for him, it was reality for others.
I see. So he just kind of got lucky.
He got lucky, and it brought a lot of attention to his radio station, so it was a win-win. Mm. And so from this point, it propelled the Dogman legend into local mainstream, I should say, and more reported sightings began to take place. Because I feel like at this point, people heard the radio station and the people who called in are like, yo, I've had something like that. Let me report my sighting. Yeah. And I think that it was like there's less stigma around it if it's becoming mainstream. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't have to feel like a crazy person. You're like, okay, I can like bring this up now. Like this thing that I kind of dismissed, like, oh, it turns out like everyone else has been seeing it, and they get a little braver, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. So now with that little piece of lore out of the way, let's continue our journey of sightings. Now this next one comes from 1993. And as you'll see from 1960 onward, I tried to pick one from each decade, or at least one. So this one's 1993. The story takes place in Reed City, Michigan, and involves a young girl named Courtney. She was 13 years old at the time. Not submissive and breedable, but her homework was submitted and readable. Okay.
Good distinction.
Now, because it was the 90s, right? She was 13 and was able to get her hands on ciggies. Okay. And of course, she was addicted already because it was the grunge era, right? You fucking smoke cigarettes and you listen to Pearl Jam and I don't know.
Was that before like filters? Well, so it was like you were getting like full blown in your face tobacco with like all the additives and everything.
They had filters back in the 90s. But it was still really like I'm not saying that cigarettes now are good, but like I'm saying that it was still really terrible because there was a lot more people were smoking. It wasn't under as much scrutiny as it is now. So like I'm sure they put a lot more shit in it back then than they do now.
Right.
So she was fucking herself up pretty bad, unfortunately.
Cool.
Anyway, so she was addicted. She snuck out of her house, out of her family home, and snuck around to the back to have a little bit of a puff, you know,
bit of a stogie.
She got to puff off a faggot, you know. Wait,
it's in the context of how you said it and with the accent that it was not a slur.
Yeah, that's right. So you got to keep that.
Yeah, nice.
Woo!
Wait, did you say you said a puff off of a fag, right? You didn't say faggot because
I said faggot.
That's okay. Then never mind. You fucking that's some Freudian, like you just said that completely wrong.
Just fine. Just bleep him out then. Just bleep him out, but leave it in for the context.
Fine.
And then you can leave fag in.
Just another incriminating episode of Close Encounters when watching my career go up in flames right before my eyes.
Dude, I'm gonna try to be a therapist when I'm older, man. Imagine if somebody finds out this shit that I've been talking about here.
Dr. Nick, I noticed there's a show online that the guy sounds a lot like you.
It's like, no, that's my twin brother. He's evil.
Yeah. So that's why I no longer work in entertainment, because now I could just work in my hole and nobody will ever have to know.
Oh man, I'm fucked. Anyway, so while smoking, again, satire, people. All right.
Yep.
While smoking, she saw that there was a dim light coming from an old abandoned barn a little ways away from her house. It caught her attention, and she decided to investigate. Which is, again, that's like a dumb white person move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, classic horror film. Bad idea.
Upon arriving at the barn, she peered through the boards and saw what looked to be a man with a dog or wolf's head. Again, we have that antiquity werewolf.
Yeah.
And it was a little over 6 feet tall in her estimation. So the creepiest part of this story is that when she peered through the boards, it was already staring right at her through the boards. Like a fucking horror movie. Like imagine so she's like panning over and then she looks in and all of a sudden gets the full view, but it's already like looking at her.
Oh man. It's just like, what an unlucky day.
That's creepy, dude. Like I don't get freaked out often, but it's those types of situations that really give you the heebie-jeebies, man.
Oh yeah. No, that's not a fun situation to find yourself in. And well, now we got to see. Did she make it?
She did make it. Flight kicked in. She booked it right back to her house as soon as she saw the face. And then, so she did make it. I don't know the talk that she had with her parents, because at this point you have to have like the internal conflict with yourself. Do you tell your parents what you saw?
Yeah.
And then they're like, why were you outside at like 2 a.m? You're like, oh, I was puffing on a smoke. I was having a smoke.
Yeah.
You just bleep those out, I guess. And then, or do you not bring it up and then just think that you're fucking crazy for the rest of your life because nobody's there to either, falsify or validate what you saw? So
that's a tough distinction. That's a tough call, because also too, there's the risk of you bring it up and then everyone just thinks you're crazy, and then you have to fucking deal with that for the rest of your life of nobody ever believing anything you say ever again.
Right. So I have no idea what she chose, but the good news is that one of her neighbors, now this is assumedly like farmland, neighbors are kind of far apart, but one of her neighbors had claimed that they too, at one point in time, saw something in that same exact barn. And they described it as being a, quote, buffalo-sized dog, unquote, roaming around inside of the barn.
So lucky
Because there's at least one person who saw what she saw. Well, it was different. They saw different things, which is kind of weird.
Yeah. But like relatable enough to like, there's some credence there.
Right.
Yeah.
That was good. My voice is getting dry. Does it sound dry? Does it sound sensual?
You're getting there. Maybe just we just gotta maybe if you took a puff on a okay, no, never mind. Let's just move on.
Say it. No, say it.
Nope. Too late.
All right. Good. Our next story comes to us from the year 2001. A man and his stepdaughter. Look, I've seen a lot of videos that start that way. It's not what it sounds like. Okay?
Sure.
Witnessed what appeared to be a giant werewolf or dogman creature lurking around the hill behind their home. Quote, my stepdaughter and I were looking out the French doors to see a creature, black in color, like a big bear with haunches and the head of a wolf. Unquote.
Mm.
Why did he feel the need to specify the doors were French in nature?
He's proud of them, man.
No. Wow. Proud of. Okay. All right. Hey, wasn't the Statue of Liberty a gift from France?
It was, yes.
Just burn it down.
Even though it's like a symbol of like a lot of good things.
Like copper tarnish?
No,
that's all I think about when I look at it.
They gave it to us in good faith because of our good relations. Actually, I think we're fucking up recently because we just went to a defense agreement with like England and Australia, and they didn't like that.
What was the defense agreement about?
I don't know. I haven't read it, but it's some sort of like we're agreeing to work together with like, having each other's backs. Some alliance. I don't know. Complicated alliance, political bullshit.
We got to stop picking on France, man, because they're going to start bringing the guillotine back. And
they've been holding back for a while. They've been like really keeping it under wraps. So who's to say when it's going to boil over?
Dude, isn't it weird to think that the last time they used it was the 70s, like 1970s?
Really?
Yeah, that's the last time that they used it as a form of capital punishment.
That's recent.
It's scary. And to think about how recent that is, like 50 years ago, man. Like they could bring it back anytime now. If we keep picking on them and if we keep pushing them like I am, they might just bring it back.
Well, I don't know. I feel like it's just not a very, like, back then it was efficient, but nowadays I just don't think it's as efficient. There's just easier ways to do capital punishment.
Yeah. French and their baguettes,
So, anyways, this guy's very proud of his French doors and made sure to include it in his story.
Yeah, so he's a bit of an asshole,
Yep.
Now, now this is the only reported sighting of a dogman in Cass County, Michigan. However, it is a recurring one. That's something that's important to note here.
Yeah.
So not only have this man and his stepdaughter seen this creature, but other residents in the same area have seen it stomping around the swamps of Cass County and can sometimes hear it screaming and shrieking at night in that human-esque voice.
The worst. Like, have you ever heard it was like this like Mayan like death whistle where it's like when you blow into it, it sounds like a soul straight out of hell.
Yes. Yeah. Creepy, dude. That's kind of what I imagine the Dogman howl to be like.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. And yeah, so it's not a good sound.
No, it's hair raising.
Yeah.
So it's assumed that this is the same dogman, at least in Cass County. So there seems to be one dogman in Cass County roaming around being a nuisance and screaming in the middle of the night.
Cool.
Now we come to 2006, and we actually have 2 reported sightings of the Michigan Dogman in this year. The first story is a fairly infamous one I'd say in the circle of werewolf dogman cryptozoology.
Oh.
It involves a man and his passenger who were driving down the road in Troy, Michigan one night. Then seemingly out of nowhere, in the middle of the street rose a creature he described as a, quote, great big dog that was standing up, unquote. Naturally, he swerved hard to avoid hitting the creature in the middle of the road, but that led him to flip his fucking car over in the ditch on the side of the road.
And you don't just do that because you're kind of afraid. That's okay. There's a little bit more of a context here.
Yeah, that's like a hard jerk reaction,
Yeah.
So now, luckily, neither he nor his passenger were injured. And the reason it's infamous is because they had an OnStar in the car and were able to get help through them.
Oh.
Now, the coolest part of this story is that the audio recording of the conversation with OnStar after they flipped the car is available to listen to online. I have the link to the video of the recording, and I will be posting it on our Discord and social media for people to hear. It's fucking weird. Okay.
Ooh, yeah. No, I'll definitely have to take a listen to that soon.
So that I love that one because there's that audio where he's talking about what he saw to the on-store person. It's like a 3.5 minute long call while they wait for the sheriffs to show up.
Damn. And is it pretty incriminating?
Yes. Sounds like some werewolf bullshit. Some werewolf shenanigans.
And it's like as it's happening too. So like I said, when nobody flips their car over for no reason. So on the logic front, there's a part of me that's like, okay, whatever he saw was definitely unusual.
Yeah, that's why I love this one. It's definitely got, I think it holds the most water, you know?
Yeah, a little bit more plausible.
So the next story from 2006 took place in May that year and surrounds a man named Ronald, if you will.
Ronald.
He was driving down an isolated road in Lansing, Michigan. Now, you'll notice a pattern of roads with Michigan Dogman at times. And that is one of the reasons why it's often compared to the Beast of Bray Road, because it happens on desolate roads in the middle of the night. Mm-hmm. Big creatures out there stalking the woods, that kind of a situation, you know?
Yeah. And it's funny. I feel like, with these big creatures, you'd think they'd be like so aware of their like, beastly appearance that they would be a little bit ballsier, but no, creatures like that tend to be a little bit more withdrawn. They only show up when they like have a guarantee win.
Yeah, which is smart. I'd say that's pretty smart.
Right. So they're smart, and that's not good.
That's not good for us. But anyway, Ron slowed down for what he first thought was a deer or something on the side of the road. However, upon further inspection, and as more of his headlights hit the creature as he approached, he realized that it was not a deer at all. The creature revealed a huge humanoid hand and pulled itself up, revealing a large silhouette. And he said that it appeared to be a huge man, but with a wolf-like face. Again, creepy wolf head guy.
Yeah, with human body and all that stuff. That's it sounds like it's getting to the point where the idea of a guy wearing a decapitated dog head for what would now have been generations, like
it's like one family in history that just passes down their clinical lycanthropy to like their sons, and
it's like, yeah, like I guess that could be an explanation, but that's kind of grasping for straws. I mean, you're gonna get the one grandson who's like, no, I want to be an artist, I'm gonna move to California.
No, you're not. You're going to wear a wolf head like me and your grandfather and my grandfather before him.
Now, come on. We're taking Sparky's head off in the backyard tonight.
So what do you want to be, a pit bull or a bulldog?
Yeah. Oh, terrible. Yeah, that'd be an interesting horror film, though.
That would be pretty cool, actually. So here's a quote from Ron about this particular sighting. Quote, "It was much larger than a normal man, and it had a wolf-like face, and its eyes reflected in my headlights. It just sat there and looked across the field on the other side of the road, and then it just very calmly turned its head and looked right at me," unquote. See, that's the shit that I don't like, is when they just kind of like look at you, They're not running at you quite yet, but they acknowledge that they know you're there, and they're like, do something, try something,
Yeah. I think chilling is the right way to describe that.
Chilling. That's a good word. I like that. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when we were younger on TV in one of the higher number channels, there was a channel called Chiller?
That does sound familiar. I never watched it because remember I was scared of everything.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. Basically it was kind of like a 24/7 horror channel, which was awesome.
Okay.
That's just what that reminded me of. Yeah.
But yeah, so if anything, you can count this guy was our boy Ron lucky, but also it would be even luckier if it just never happened.
Yeah, I'd be like, you know what? I'm glad I walked away with my soul and my dignity, but why did it have to happen at all?
Yeah, well, and that shit's like traumatic. Like just seeing things like fucked up will like mess with you. And I mean, I'm sure you'll get into that in your psychology courses and stuff, but yeah, trauma has many different forms. It doesn't have to necessarily be like the classic I witnessed an explosion and seeing somebody burst into pieces, but trauma, it also varies on the person. And one person's pain that might seem greater is like the end of the world for another person.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So this guy could have been an alcoholic for all we know after this.
Yep. Never bounced back. Who knows?
Poor Ron.
Yeah. Or he took up the mantle and became the next Dogman.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that how it works? Is that how it works? Is like the person to witness it last before the previous one dies is like the new one. He's like the new Batman, the new Robin.
Yeah, that's the sequel. Dogman Returns.
Dogman Returns. Ronald.
Ronald. Dogman 2. Ronald. I'd watch it.
I would. Now let's move on to 2009. A woman named Rhonda and her son were driving down a highway at night again, right? Driving at night on a highway.
Cool.
In Three Lakes, Michigan, when a massive beast dashed across the road in front of them near Tioga Creek.
Tioga Creek.
Quote, "We were very puzzled and thought it might be some mutant wolf and could not figure out what we witnessed," she went on to say. The beast, quote, "ran fairly fast, about 50 feet in front of our truck, and was so strange because the front of it was much higher than the back, larger than a wolf," unquote.
Part of me wonders, maybe it's because, I mean, Dogman, like I said, it kind of has like a werewolf kind of context or stuff. Maybe it's just a fucking, just kind of like a Bigfoot type cryptid.
Like a primate?
Yeah, like some kind of like really fucked up. Well, I mean, because for this one, was it determined that it had a man body and like a wolf head, or that this one was just like a really big wolf?
I think that this might have been just a really big wolf, like what we classically think of as werewolves, like the beastly ones. I think that's what she's driving at here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a majority of the ones we've looked at so far have seemed to have been like the wolf head man body, which is like, not good.
Yeah, that's more supernatural. Whereas the point I'm making is this one feels like less supernatural. This one feels like something like this could plausibly exist, like a huge fucking wolf,
like a missing link in a certain species family or something like that.
Yeah, like maybe it's dying out. Maybe we don't see these too often, but maybe every once in a while you do get just like these turbo wolves, like for this one at least.
That's a good point that you bring up there, because there are, and we will get into this in our future Bigfoot series that we're planning. But yes, there are thoughts out there that these creatures are not supernatural at all. They're not like extraterrestrial, but they are just animals that have not been recorded yet, or are really good at fucking evading shit.
Yep, just few and far between, and just slip through the cracks.
But after, so she was taken aback, obviously, by what she saw, because it was pretty frightening, right? And decided to do some digging on what she witnessed.
Okay.
So after hearing and seeing stories relating to similar creatures in Michigan, aka the Michigan Dogman, she was positive that was what she had seen that night. And so she is attributing basically what she saw to being a werewolf in Michigan.
Okay.
Now on to 2011, right? These stories just keep rolling in. I'm telling you, and these are just the ones I chose. There are plenty of Michigan Dogman sightings. I guess it's like very well recorded. Something's going on in Michigan, man.
Yeah. Well, it also could be like a bit of a hysteria for it, in which case, like kind of, everyone kind of wants a piece of the pie, and that's kind of what I'm trying to say here, is that maybe some accounts are not super reliable because, people love attention. I mean, look at fucking TikTok, dude. Like there's a trend where you would have to like break off a piece of the school's bathroom and like steal it. And it went so far that like whole bathrooms just got completely like obliterated, like toilets shattered, the stalls broken down and stuff like that. Like people love attention.
That's true, man. That's very true. But are you calling all these people liars, Tasker? Are you calling Ronald and Rhonda of Michigan liars?
Now they were at the forefront. There, see, when it gets popular, it gets harder for me to believe.
That's fair. This next guy, he sounds like he has a very reliable name.
Okay.
Chuck,
huh?
Yeah. Sounds like a nerd, right? So you could trust him.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he has to say.
So this is from 2011, right? And as we said, his name is Chuck. Chuckled, if you will.
Right.
He was driving during the early morning on Nestoria Road in Baraga County, Michigan, when he spotted what he thought was a moose on the side on the road in the distance, like standing in the middle of the road. Now, it was pretty foggy that morning, so his vision and perception was skewed a bit. He lost sight of the moose, but slowed down as he approached the area he initially spotted it in, just in case it was still on the road. You know, you don't want to hit a moose with your car. You don't want to hit a deer with a car. You definitely don't want to hit a moose with your car. You're wrecked.
Yeah, that'll mess your car up bad.
Real bad, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Now, upon driving through the area, the creature came back onto the road and showed itself. It was no moose. Here is a quote from Chuck about what he saw. Quote, "It was on all fours and had back legs like those of a large man. It had jet black fur and looked like a very large wolf other than the back legs and the human-like rump." Oh, yeah, Chuck.
Wow.
All right. There was no tail. The profile of the head and snout were that of a wolf. It did not make a sound, unquote. So this is an interesting mix of appearance that we have here from Chuck Rooney. Basically saying that it looks like a werewolf except for the fact that its legs and butt were human.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is just hysteria. I think it's probably the same as the giant wolf thing. And I don't know, they can shed. Who knows? Maybe it was like injured or something like that and just had a scuffle.
But I think, it was on all fours. Yeah, it was on all fours. Yeah, okay. So, interesting. Yeah, I don't know what this is, man.
Yeah.
Because it looks like he was just looking at a human ass.
Yeah. Maybe he was projecting a little bit. Maybe it's what he wanted. Maybe he has some like deep-seated interest in that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I think this one's more of the product of like hysteria. I think he saw more of just what could have been just like a really big fucking wolf. And I this is the one I'm a little bit more on the iffy side. I'm sorry. I don't trust Chuck.
You don't? Are you serious, Chuck? He's done nothing to you, man. Chuck's done nothing to you. Chuck of Baraga County, Michigan.
Yeah, after all we've been through, I can't do it, man.
Man, that is sad, dude. Chuck's gonna be sad when he hears that.
He is. I'm sorry, Chuck.
Okay, people. So, given how many stories we just covered, it's safe to say that a continuous stream of sightings have occurred since the first sighting in 1887. Right? There are a lot of sightings of the Michigan Dogman.
Mm-hmm.
And this year is no exception. Even up until year 2021, sightings are rolling in. Now, here is a new sighting, which took place in July of this year, 2021. For those of you listening in the future, the year is 2021, okay?
Yeah, wow. So this happened like a couple months ago.
Yes, this happened Tuesday, July 13th, 2021. Now, I will be reading this is the last story that we're going to do, and I did not do my own interpretation of the story because it's a good one, so I'm reading it straight from the article, okay?
Okay.
A Michigan teen is alarmed to see a large, mysterious wolf-like creature in their neighbor's yard. I don't know who wrote this article, but it doesn't seem very reliable.
Interesting, huh?
There's two typos in the article title already. Let me see what the
actual. Oh man, and you know what that's usually indicative of is a scam.
Okay, fine. Let me at least I won't read the title or that little intro. Let me read the actual account from the person who didn't write the article.
Got it.
3 nights ago, I saw something that I still can't fully understand or explain. I live in mid-Michigan in a small residential suburban town surrounded by cornfields. However, I do live in the more populated area of my parents' house where I currently reside, and it's located within walking distance of our downtown. Our street is by no means desolate, dark, or isolated, and most of the houses are fairly close to one another. A pretty urban setting given the town itself. It was about 2:30 a.m., and since it's pretty normal for me to be up that late, Tasker,
yeah,
me and my dog have developed what I call our little routine. Oh, probably runs out of peanut butter a lot.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He comes to my door, lets out a huff to inform me that he's there. And then we go downstairs where I let him out. Oh, okay, good. Where I let him outside through the front door and to do his business. Sorry, I thought it was going to the pantry.
Yeah, I was like, Nick, I don't think this is an article.
Nick.
Your source is rule34.com.
So after completing, he comes in and we share a midnight snack of ham straight from the fridge. Jesus, this person is a degenerate. Now, keep in mind, my dog is extremely well trained and very old. He doesn't seem to need a leash or a fence to keep him from running away. He always comes right back after he's done. He'll even wait at the door if you aren't there. So on this particular night, I open the door for him, and I'm just about to turn and walk away so I can prepare our midnight snack when I notice he's still standing on the porch staring across the street. This isn't completely out of the norm for him, but this was lasting a bit longer than usual. When he finally jumps off the porch, I follow his line of sight where he had been staring, and I see what looks like a large dog or maybe even a wolf slinking across my neighbor's yard on the other side of the street. For the first few seconds, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck. It says WTF, but I'm saying it. What the fuck this thing is, because it looks like it could be a dog, but something isn't right. It's too long, and the way it's moving isn't normal. And even though I was only about 50 feet away, it looked as though it were blurry. I can't think of any other way to describe it. None of it made sense. At this point, I go into panic mode because so far this creature hasn't seemed to notice me or my dog. But if it does, my dog doesn't stand a chance. Like I said, he's old. He's also a Pomeranian. Well, that explains a lot.
Oh, that's adorable.
I wipe my ass with Pomeranians, you know?
It's a good hobby.
Whatever this thing was, it would destroy him, no doubt. No doubt. I decide to slowly open the outer glass door, hoping to create just enough noise to alert my dog that it's time to come in, but not enough for whatever that thing is to hear me. Luckily, my dog notices right away and starts running back towards me. But at the same time, this dog creature starts turning toward me slowly. It almost felt fake how unnatural it moved, like animatronics or something. I'm not even sure what I'm looking at, but I have this indescribable feeling that I'm not supposed to be seeing this. So as this thing is turning to look at me, my dog is coming through the door simultaneously. And for about 1 second, I take my eyes off the creature thing to look down at my dog and close the door. When I look back up, the thing has moved about 30 feet to the left into my neighbor's driveway rather than their yard, and is standing on its hind legs at about 7 to 8 feet tall, staring at me. Now I'm really freaking out. How did it move so quickly, and how did it not make a single sound? How is it so tall? I literally looked away for maybe a second. I look away again to lock the door and gather myself, only to look again and see absolutely nothing. It was gone. This whole ordeal lasted maybe 20 to 30 seconds total. Shaking, I give my dog his ham and mine. Gotta make sure you get your snack.
Yeah, at this moment, it's like, oh shit, well, I'm not going to just not eat this.
Yeah, I mean, I've already prepared it, you know?
Priorities.
And I run downstairs to my brother's room in the basement and tell him what happened. Being a normal 19-year-old playing video games, his response was, wow, what the fuck? That's super weird. But honestly, I just needed to tell someone to confirm that what just happened actually happened, and that I wouldn't wake up the next day and convince myself it was a dream. Yeah, see, it's that confirmation. You know, you got to make sure you get confirmation. Even if they didn't see it, you have to make sure you relate, you're pushing your thoughts onto somebody.
Yeah, because if it was a dream and you wake up and you ask the person you told, they wouldn't know.
Exactly, dude. Mm-hmm. So I am with this person on that for sure.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Over the last few days, I've told anyone who would listen about what I saw, including my parents. Hey, you want to hear a cool story? It's like, sir, just check out and leave the store, okay? No, hold on. I gotta tell you this story, dude. Will you listen to this? Like, no.
It sounds like you every time you come home for the holidays, huh?
Yeah, dude. My whole family's just like, please, we did not consent, right?
Yep.
Those who are closer to me seemed a bit more unnerved because, like I mentioned earlier, I don't usually believe this type of thing. They could tell I was shaken by whatever it was I saw. Tonight, after some random Googling as the result of my restless mind, I come across what appears to be the exact description of what I saw. The Dogman. I've never heard anything about it before, but I am now fully convinced I saw one in front of my very own eyes, and it saw me too.
Damn. I was just thinking, maybe it's not naturally occurring. And at first I was like, well, could be extraterrestrial, like experiment gone awry, but then that would like, enable you. So I thought, what if, however, I mean, I don't think it'd be too far fetched that the government might have been experimenting on, biological weapons and, utilizing like a giganticism sort of like gene or something like that. And that would explain why we only have like a couple of them out there naturally. It's not so much that they avoided like, dying out. It's just there's only like a couple of them that even exist.
You're not wrong. That could very well be the case. Like, I'm not saying that a werewolf, it's in my mind, has to be like somebody who actually physiologically transforms into a werewolf during a full moon or something, right? Or because of a curse.
Right.
It could very well be a government
fuck up,
like the genome splicing gone wrong in some like human animal experiments, and it went right. It had the result they wanted, but they fucking lost control of it, and now it's out in the open.
Yeah, and they're just like, whatever, it'll die out. Like it's sterile. It can't like continue its species. Like
we didn't give it a penis,
Yeah, let's just throw it in Michigan and call it a day.
So yeah, so that very well could be the case, and even in that case, I would still consider it to be a werewolf because it's pretty dope. But I know that you were joking about the alien thing, but it also could be an alien thing. Like it could very well be an alien genetic mix-up because aliens are known to fuck with us and our genetics out of just pure curiosity sometimes. So what if they did the same thing that we were talking about with the government theory? Like what if they abducted humans, they abducted a wolf or a dog or something, and they literally just, because they have the technology, spliced us together and then just dropped off whatever came out onto the earth, was like, hey, that was cool. Anyways, on to the next project,
They're just like, it's not a huge deal. Like, whatever. Or they knew it would die off within like a little while, or maybe it didn't. And maybe this is actually, they're seeing the same one and it was built to last. And maybe they thought it was going to die out and it just never did.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know it was a joke, but aliens could definitely be involved here. Aliens are for sure involved in Bigfoot, but that's a different story. But the concept is similar, right? Could very well be involved.
Interesting.
Other theories. Now, theories that people have proposed online. One is that it's a weird, like, dog coyote hybrid. Don't believe in that one necessarily because it doesn't account for either A, the humanoid features of most of the sightings, or B, the size,
Yeah. Because I also think too that these are separate creatures we're talking about. I think there's one that has more of the like chimera experimental side and others that I think could occur in nature.
Dude, what if? Okay, dude, thought of it, man. And I'm not even high right now. Okay, check this out. God. What if the government or scientists, somebody saw the creature version, right? The version that we like, the cool one, the big one.
Right.
They're like, I'm going to recreate that. That looks like a werewolf.
Yeah.
And they fucked it up. And that's why we have the one with the wolf head and the human body, because they fucked up their experiment trying to recreate the creature one. So it is two different beings.
What if, how it's like we now have surgical procedures to like put, like, if you get decapitated, to like put your head on like a corpse body and like link it together. Maybe that was rudimentary research on that. And there was some crackpot who was doing it on his own,
Damn, dude.
That'd be fucking terrifying too, especially if it worked. I mean, I don't think it would. I mean, like I said, we're kind of like getting a little sci-fi here, but like that's a concept of if he somehow managed to pull that off, then, well, that would explain it. And that would explain why there's a couple different ones of different sizes. And maybe he just got away with it.
Dude, that'd be so cool. That would make a good movie too. Like some mad scientist in the woods in Michigan that fucked up a human wolf experiment, and damn, dude.
Became a bit of a local legend.
I hope it's real. Now I kind of like, I love classic werewolves and I really hope that they're real, but now I kind of hope that that's real. I kind of hope that like the Michigan Dogman is the product of an experiment gone wrong by some crazy person in the woods.
Right. And then it got famous. So he's like, well, I got to make more then, right?
I got to make more of these. The demand is so high.
They love me. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, honestly, kind of hoping that's the case now.
Yeah. I think it's good speculation.
So the other theory that's been proposed online to try and come up with like a quote unquote like reasonable explanation, what I call hater explanation, is that it's a prehistoric wolf or a species of wolf previously thought to be extinct, or one that is like again like a missing link type thing when it comes to the wolf family.
Yeah,
something that you're along the lines of believing.
Yeah, something that was supposed to be extinct but isn't, and there's only probably like a couple of them left, and that's why like we only see them like every now and again.
Like dire wolves, right? Like weren't dire wolves like massive?
I think so. Yeah, there was a time where they kind of like free roamed, and like see that makes sense. And it's not like Michigan's like a super like, you know, it's not like California where we just like decimated the natural population and just like built up. Like, you know, it's a lot more woodsy out there. There's a lot more shit that probably isn't like super discovered because people just don't really bother because they got better things to do.
Yeah, man. So I'm not going to say it's full on hater mode. Like I could see like a giant ass like unextinct dire wolf out there.
Yeah,
but and I think that's cool, but I don't think it accounts for the humanoid shape again, like this almost consistent humanoid shape that we see in the stories.
Yeah, like I said, I think it fits for like one or two of them, but like mad scientist theory kind of tends to be the most fun for the other one.
Yeah, dude. So to me, the only explanation is that it's a werewolf. All right. The only explanation that I'll accept is that it's a werewolf.
Right.
But I want to see, Tasker, what is your overall consensus? What, after learning about the stories that we learned about today, what is your consensus on the Michigan Dogman?
I think most of it's I think a lot of it's hysteria. I think a lot of it is there. I don't doubt that there's some big fucking thing out there that was disturbing and frightening and intimidating. I think because it became a local legend, it got easier to like pin it on it. It sort of became, in a weird way, a scapegoat for like any weird sighting. I mean, that's why these local legends get popularity, and that's why anything gets popularity. It's because it's easily accessible and it's easy to point a finger at it, and it's got to be this. It's a label that's like, you know, easy, and I venture to say a little bit fun. Oh, I saw the fucking wolf, the fucking Dogman. Like, whoa, man, that's crazy. Like, so I think some of the earlier sightings possibly could be, but also too, it's like, you know, like with most storytelling, it's a game of telephone. Like the details can kind of get garbled as it goes along. And I mean, we've been getting sightings of this thing since the late 1800s. Like, I can believe a giant dog-like creature. I can believe a giant wolf-like creature. The one with the man body, like, I don't see it. I think it's just a product of garbled stories, and then it just sort of gets like, becomes like the myth becomes larger than the event it was based on. And I think that's what we're dealing with.
Okay, that was very astute. That was very in-depth. Do you want to know what my consensus is?
Oh, please grace me with it.
It's a werewolf, man. It's simple. It's sweet. It's to the point. It's what we want to know. It's what we want to hear. It's a werewolf. All right. Whether that's through experimentation, whether it's through a curse, or it even could be a viral infection. Something like that. It's a werewolf. All right. Some people out there are seeing things in Michigan that has a goddamn wolf head and a human body. All right. That's not natural. It's not as funny as it was for us to joke about like generations of a family passing down the torch of being some fucking crazy person with a dog head. I can't see that happening.
Yeah, that's pretty far-fetched. Not impossible, but like
we could make it happen with our family. If we really wanted to, we could make that happen, but I can't see that being the case. It's a werewolf.
Oh, yeah. At this point, it is almost easier to believe that it's just a werewolf, but who knows? If you're in Michigan, you're listening. If there's any sightings, anything you want to add, please let us know on our Discord, because I'd like to know. I feel like this is a bit of an open case.
Yeah, and I'm particularly interested, as you guys know, in werewolves. So please, if anybody has had an experience with the Michigan Dogman, or even any werewolves at all, please let me know.
Yeah, that would be interesting, and we'll see what else we got. And yeah, I think, is that everything?
That's it. That's it for the Michigan Dogman, baby. It took us a while, but we got on track.
Yeah. A little all over the place, but as we said before, things are a little bit less organized than they were before.
Yes.
Yeah, who'd have thought, doing this show for free is like sometimes shit gets in the way.
Yes, but you know what? We did get a donation. I forgot to tell you because I'm lazy and busy, but we got a $25 donation.
Shit.
I think it was Friday or Saturday. I forgot what day it was, but yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, there's our that pays for hosting. Thank you a lot. That's really sweet. Did they say anything? Did they have anything we needed to read out for them?
Not to read out. They left us a private message that you could take a look at later, but it was very nice. Yes, it was very nice of them.
Well, thank you so much. I'll make sure to take a look at that later. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate the donations. Like we said, it's not essential, but we do appreciate it. It does go to our hosting. It goes to like our way to keep the show like, the high quality standard that it's at.
That's right. And yeah, so that's it for the Michigan Dogman. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I fucking love werewolves. I love Halloween. It's coming up. So, again, ramping up to spooky season. We're going to have pretty much just spooky stuff for the next, 4 or 5 episodes for Halloween.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, just a lot of cryptids, a lot of just like themed stuff like that. Like, of course, we're gonna try to see if we can find some like good old fashioned alien stuff. But like, it's Halloween. We want to go for the spoopy.
That's right. Go for the spoopy. I know they don't do well. I know a lot of people don't listen to them, but we have to. I want to do one exorcism that I have in mind because it's it's a fucking exorcism and it's October and I'm doing it. So you guys out there can suck my dick. All right, please.
Oh boy. And and the exorcism episodes, I'm just saying you guys should check them out. They're pretty good.
They're pretty fun.
Yeah, it's good stuff. We got to talk about demons and stuff. You know how much we love that. So look forward to that. Speaking of demons, Count Chocula episode is still in the works. Like we said, with breaking things off to now taking 2 weeks to do an episode later in the future, Count Chocula we had to put that on hold because the sanctity of our entire show is at stake, and we have to keep the platform alive because if this platform is gone, we can't ever expose him.
That's right. So we will continue to fight. We will continue to do the research on the back end for Count Chocula because, like Tasker said, if we just give up now, we're literally the only people on Earth with this much fucking dirt on him. All right, we have to keep going. He
wins. And when the reptilians come in, Count Chocula is going to be sitting on that backseat laughing and laughing and laughing. Exactly like that. But anyways, thank you all for listening. If you're on iTunes, you could 5-star rate and review us. That would help us a ton. Spotify, you can click the follow button. We do have new episodes every single Wednesday. Changes to that schedule are to be determined right now, but at least for the next couple episodes past here should be routine. Instagram is at CEOTPK. Our YouTube is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. Twitter is at CEOTPK1. You can check out our TikTok at CEOTPK. For all these links and all the links I'm about to read, they're all going to be on our Facebook at Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind or Facebook.com/CEOTPK. You can email us, CEOTPK1@gmail.com. Our Discord is discord.gg/lowercase b, number 6, capital C, capital T, number 5, capital M, capital X. Like I said, all these links are on the Facebook. You don't have to type that out. If you feel the need to donate, ko-fi.com/CEOTPK. Like I said, anything is insanely appreciated. And, we love you guys. We love hearing from you. If you choose to donate, leave us a message that if you want us to have it on the air, we'd love to read it. And just thank you for sticking through with us. Things are a little turbulent for a while, and we're going to do our best to keep up, give you guys something to listen to because, those commutes, they get really, really quiet and boring really quick.
Yeah. And if you're in Michigan, your commutes could end in a werewolf attack. So that's a problem.
Yeah, we don't want that. And of course, like we said, any information about Wolfman that you've seen during the season, let us know.
Let us know. Also, for as an aside here for the coffee donations, you can put anything in there for us to read. Just no hate speech, all right? Look, because only I'm allowed to do that on here because when I do it, it's a joke, But I don't want to hear like your 8-page manifesto on why Jews actually control banks, like a step-by-step process. So anything but that.
Yeah, plus it's kind of tedious and would almost take like an episode in and of itself.
Yeah, and I don't know German, so I can't just start doing a speech, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a Nazi joke. All right. Anyway, so that was a fun episode. We got back on track. We love you guys. You're the best out there. We'll keep you posted. Get ready for spooky season. And look, whether you think that the Michigan Dogman is just a big-ass wolf or a family of crazy people running around with dog heads on them, the truth is out there.
Look forward to our featured feature film based on the series, which was how we're going to afford to keep the show on floating about. That was a terrible ending. It's not. But I'm going to try that again.